exits to the right and left of this room. In the event of an emergency, patrons can exit at either point, descend the stairs, and congregate at the muster point, which is at the front gate. Washroom facilities are located to the rear of the hall after exiting the doors on the inside of the building. Thank you.
Short and sweet. Thank you very much, Saraya. As we kick off today's proceedings, I would love to now call on our manager, our wonderful, fearless manager, Ms. Mariana John, to give her opening remarks to welcome you all. Ms. John?
Thank you, Mr. Edmond. Good morning, everyone. The President of Anthony's Employees Credit Union, Mr. Fabian Joseph, members of the Board of Directors, our facilitators for today, Ms. Bunny Rambajan and Mr. Aaron George, other specially invited guests, teachers, most importantly, you vibrant youths, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Mariana John, and I'm the manager of Anthony's Employees Credit Union. And it is my absolute pleasure on behalf of Anthony's Employees Credit Union and our 75th anniversary committee to welcome you to this year's Youth Symposium, Generation S, Creating Smart and Sustainable Students. We have with us today our presenters, Ms. Bunny Rambajan. Ms. Rambajan is a life coach, speechwriter, and human resource professional. We have Mr. Aaron George, an accomplished music producer, educator, and entrepreneur. And also we have our very own Mr. Earl A.J. Edmond, dedicated activist, advocate, communicator, and senior YDP officer who has been in the YDP department since 2011. All of these presenters will share straight out of school pathways to success, social studies, managing your digital footprint, and also money in motion. I would like to thank at this point in time those who have made today's event possible. The YDP department, under the guidance of Mr. Earl Edmond, the 75th Anniversary Committee, under the guidance of Ms. Veron Durity, the staff of Anthony's Credit Union, the decorators, the night crew that worked tirelessly to bring today's decor to life, and all those who have helped in one way or the other. Special mention, Mr. Anson Carter, to name a few. Today we are gathered not just to celebrate the history of Anthony's Employees Credit Union, but also specifically the history of the Youth Development Program. This program is the brainchild of one of our past treasurer manager, Mr. William Guadalupe. We take our history, but we use it to empower the future, your future. This symposium is dedicated to equipping you with practical tools and knowledge that would help you thrive as smart and sustainable in adulthood. As we embark on this journey together, we will hear various expert ideas. We will engage in enlightening discussions and participate in hands-on workshops designed to inspire and inform. Our goal today is to give you the confidence and skills to make informed decisions in every aspect of your lives. Remember, the choices you make today will shape your tomorrow. Embrace this opportunity to learn, ask questions, and connect with one another. You are the leaders of tomorrow, and together we can make a higher, and more sustainable future. Thank you all for being here. Let's make this a day of learning, inspiration, and also a day of fun. Welcome to Generation S. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. John. Now, before I invite our next welcome remarks, I would like to recognize our wonderful, amazing, hardworking board of directors. If you can all stand so we can go give you a applause. You can stand in the center, yeah? If you want to, okay, just stand. We recognize you. Can we get a round of applause, please? Next, we have Ms. Baron Gillian Durity, who is my co-chair for today. We have Ms. Ann Tittle, Mr. Nathaniel David, Pastor Patrick Roy, Ms. Julianne Alfred, Ms. Rosanna Jarvis, and the next speaker, Mr. Fabian Joseph, who is our president. So I now invite him to come to give his remarks as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremony. Fellow directors, manager of the credit union, our presenters, Ms. Bonnie Ramachan and Mr. Aaron George, teachers, students, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. Great. It's an absolute honor to stand before you, such a dynamic and vibrant group of young students today. I would like to welcome each of you to this Generation S Symposium, where we gather to explore, learn, inspire one another in the spirit of progress and empowerment. Before I begin, let me extend my gratitude to the organizers and dedicated volunteers and every one of you for making the effort to be here. To our esteemed speakers and mentors, thank you for lending your knowledge and expertise in today's session. As we reflect on the core principles that build the cooperative credit union movement, one thing becomes clear. Youth like yourself are the foundation of our future. The ideas, creativity, and leadership you bring will shape not just the success of your own lives, but the direction of our communities as well. The theme of this symposium, Generation X, Creating Smart and Sustainable Students, is no coincidence. It recognizes the strength, skill, and social impact that you, the youth, represent. I encourage you to view this symposium as a launching pad for your personal and professional development. At the heart of the credit union movement is a belief in people helping people. And in today's world, financial literacy is one of the most powerful tools you can have to shape your future. The choices you make today, whether it's managing your first credit union account, understanding how to invest, or starting your own business, will define your financial well-being in the years to come. As a credit union, our goal is not just to provide financial services, but to educate, to empower, and to be a trusted partner as you take these steps towards financial independence. We believe in you, and we are committed to helping you build strong financial foundations, one decision at a time. This year's theme, One World Through Cooperative Finance, speaks to that commitment. We are living in an age of unprecedented changes. technological, innovative, social transformation, and environmental challenges. I encourage each of you to think about how you can harness the tools of this digital era to make a positive impact. How can you use your skill to lead not just in your career, but in your community? The cooperative movement needs young leaders who are willing to challenge the status quo, push boundaries, and bring fresh perspectives. The future of credit unions is in your hands, and I believe that together we can make that future bright. In closing, I want to remind each of you that this symposium is about more than just talk and panels. It's about making connections, forming ideas, and building the confidence to take action. You are Generation S, the generation that will shape, sustain, and strengthen the world around us. Thank you for being here today, and I wish you an inspiring and transformative experience at this symposium. Let's continue to work together for a brighter, more prosperous future for all. I thank you and have a wonderful session.
Yeah? Nice. I'm just talking lively now. So inside of the goodie bag, there is a notebook. Feel free to take notes during the course of the day. There is also a toolkit that we would have given you. Those pretty little folders on your desks. That has all of the information about today's sessions, as well as other pertinent information that may not come from the instruction itself. So feel free to go through it at any point in time. That's yours to keep, so you're going home with it. And inside of your bag has not just the notebook, but other nice goodies as well. We like to encourage people to continue using the services of Anthony's, and we like to give some usable things as well. So enjoy the packages that we have for you. Great. I know we're all excited to be out of school on a Friday, but we do have some reading to do today. So I wish I could say the same about working today. All right, as we get into these sessions, we have a really great and robust, as I mentioned, speakers. So to invite our first speaker, I would like to call on our director, Mr. Nathaniel David, to introduce our first speaker. Mr. David.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. And I love to hear the energy in the room from the young people. So I have the distinct pleasure this morning of introducing our first guest, Ms. Bunny Ramajan. And I just want to share just a snippet of her bio so that you all will know who would be entertaining you all this morning and sharing this great wealth of knowledge. So Ms. Bunny is a certified life coach, right, a speechwriter, a human resource professional with over 20 years of experience. She's also an adjunct faculty at the Atalanta School of Business, where she facilitates courses such as public speaking and presentation skills, dealing with difficult people, and strategic and tactical approaches to performance management. She is a part-time lecturer in entrepreneurial leadership for the University of the West Indies MBA program, has facilitated technical writing, report writing, and trained the trainer for the University of Trinidad and Tobago. She has also conducted coaching for performance on behalf of the Human Resource Management Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Ms. Rambajan holds a BA, upper second class honors from the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, a master's in business administration from Heriot-Watt University. She graduated with distinction from the Master of Human Resource Management program, right? And also at the Atalanta Institute of Business. She completed several courses for interdisciplinary gender studies, postgraduate at UWI, and is currently a doctorate candidate at the Atalanta Institute. She was trained in NEBOSH, Advanced Alternative Dispute Resolution, Project Management, and Labor Laws. Ms. Ramadan has also been one of the most prolific internal training facilitators at formerly what we would call Petrochem in supervisory development courses. She also functions for 6 years as a part-time lecturer at the School of Accounting and Management in work physiology, work psychology, performance and reward management, employee relations, and managing organizational change. Throughout her career, Ms. Ramadan has led several teams and projects and has provided consultancy services for large, medium, and small organizations. She has worked as head of external communication at Petrochem, was a columnist with the Sunday Express for over a year, participated in the first negotiation exercise between Trinma and the OWTU for the period 2000 to 2003. She also taught 5 years at a senior secondary school, so we're getting a teacher coming to talk to you today. So that would be interesting to observe. All right, so with that, I want you all to join with me and welcome Ms. Bunny Ramadan to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. And let me start off by saying I apologize for being late this morning. I think we had a little bit of mix-up with communication. Baron told me that we might have been starting between 9:30 and 10. So I came in a little bit later, but my apologies. And I'm grateful to be here and grateful to the Angeles Credit Union for inviting you to this kind of event. Not all students have the opportunity to attend events like these. So good morning, welcome to my talk. I'm happy to be here, hope that you're happy to be here. And before we start, I just want to say something. I don't do lectures where I'm just going to show you a million slides. I like my sessions to be interactive. Anybody who knows me knows that I like to talk, but it's no fun talking to yourself, right? So I have to have some people to talk to. Good? So during today's session, I'm going to be asking you some questions. I want you to engage with me. And yes, as the MC said, I used to be a teacher. I actually taught at Point Fortin College. That was a long time ago. That was before you were born. That would have been in 1995. And then I taught at Ivy High School for about 4 years, right? So I left teaching secondary school in the year 2000, but I wasn't teaching for 5 years. So we're going to get started. I said thank you already. What's going on? Oh, yes. It's in a funny place, though. Could probably keep it there. All right, so I'll move back and forth. Sometimes I might be in front of it, but that's okay. So I said thank you for the invitation. And as Fabian Joseph, who's the president, would have mentioned, yesterday was International Credit Union Day. And the theme of that was one world through cooperative finance. And I'm going to mention a little bit more about that as we go on. The Worldwide Foundation for Credit Unions talked about educating, celebrating, and participating. That's what they wanted credit unions everywhere to do, the more than 82,000 credit unions that exist around the world. They wanted credit unions to use this opportunity to educate, celebrate, and participate. And I thought to myself, isn't that a wonderful theme and how befitting, because that's exactly what Angeles is doing today. Educating, celebrating, and allowing students to participate. Yeah? So it's also Aunt Lee's anniversary. You all notice a big 75 on the stage. 75 years of aunties being around. That's another thing to celebrate. So this is just to give you a little bit of context about why today is happening. And of course, as I said, we're going to get into it. I want to start off with a little exercise. And this exercise is not just for the students. Yeah, not just for the students. This exercise is for everybody in the room. And one of the things I'd like to encourage all of you to do, I know that you're happy and it's Friday and you're happy to be away from school, but please use today as an opportunity. So pay attention, focus, listen. Don't use today as a chance to just chat with your friends all day. Pay attention. Yeah? So this exercise doesn't require for you to write anything. I want you to start off by just closing your eyes. You're closing your eyes, you don't need to chat with your friend to do that. Close your eyes and use your imagination. I want you to think about all of you, MC, right? You closing your eyes too. Good? Everybody, close your eyes. The only person whose eyes are open right now is mine, right? Close your eyes and use your imagination. I want you to think about your life 10 years from now. Imagine it. See it. What's your life going to be? Well, first of all, how old will you be? What type of work will you be doing? Who will you be? Where will you be living? What does a day in your life 10 years from now look like? What is the life that you are actually living 10 years from now? Think about it. See it. What does it look like? Where are you? What's the place that you're sitting in? What does it look like? Are you comfortable? Are you happy? What's the work you're doing? How you dress up? Yeah? Okay, good. So open the eyes again. I want at least a couple students to share with me, what did you see? What did you imagine? What's that life 10 years from now looking like? Who's going to volunteer? Do we have a volunteer? Come on. We have somebody on stage volunteering? No? Come on, one of you. Tell me. What did you think? What did you see? This lady right here. I'm gonna hold the microphone. Okay. My name is Whisper. Um, 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 I'm living in my own house with, um, and I didn't have a job because I don't know. And but somehow I had money. And I had like 3 dogs and 2 cats this year. And I think. Okay, so house, no job, but you have some money, right? That sounds like a life I would like to have as well, right? All the adults in the room are saying that sounds good, right? So, and have cats and have dogs. Anybody else? And I want to tell you all something, a little secret. You see, being afraid to speak in public, you don't ever have to be afraid to speak in public. Because you know what happens? If you decide to speak in public and people decide to laugh, you know what happens? Absolutely nothing. Not one thing happens if people laugh when you are speaking. So, yeah? Can I have another volunteer? Where are the PFC students? The important college students. That's the school I used to teach at. Let me get a volunteer from that school, please. Okay, this is not a PFC volunteer, but I'm happy to have a volunteer. And that's from Wesley. Yeah? Introduce yourself and speak.
Alexander. I see myself becoming a lawyer in the future.
Very nice. Yeah? Let's give a round of applause, please. Anybody else wants to tell me 10 years from now, what are you seeing about yourself?
My name is Shushan Jadu. Next 10 years, I'd probably like to be a marine biologist or accountant. Maybe have kids like Titi or wife. I'm not really looking for a relationship at this young age because I have to be financially stable.
Very nice. Very, very nice. And people are getting braver. But the people who are not coming up to speak, please pay attention to the people who are speaking.
Hello, I am Arianala, and I would imagine myself being a policewoman 10 years from now with 3 or 4 kids. Well, I like to read.
Very good. You go ahead and you tell them what you want. Very good. Go ahead.
I would want to be a policewoman and have a vacation somewhere in Jamaica, St. Lucia, Barbados, somewhere. But I imagine myself with a happy life, a
Very
happy
nice.
husband,
Very nice.
and a blissful senescence each.
Very, very, very nice. Excellent. Yeah? So this is my last volunteer that I'm taking and then we're moving on.
So basically, a real estate agent. Real estate agent, and then a supplier. And he is so, like,
Okay, so thank you. I love that some of you came up here with conviction about what it is you want to be and do. Yeah? Because it doesn't matter to anybody else what I think is a happy and successful life. I love how the young lady said, so what? I like children. And if she wants to be a policewoman and she wants to have her kids, and she said she wants a blissful life. I love that you are thinking those positive and beautiful thoughts. Yeah? Good job. And to be able to speak that way to yourself and also to speak up that way to others, excellent. Yeah? All right. So we're moving on from that little exercise. And I want to ask you a question. As I said, lots of questions, but I don't want you to answer to your friend. Interact up here. Yeah? And the question is there a connection between what you just imagined, because you imagine in 10 years down the road, but is there a connection between that and who you are today? Is there a connection between what you imagined and who you are today? You all are saying yes? So, what's the connection between what you just imagined and who you are today? What is the connection? How are the two things related? Me here today, 10 years down the road. Yes? So this lady is saying What she does today paves the way for tomorrow. And I have another way of saying that, and you're so very correct. I like saying that the future is now. The future is now. Because what we do today prepares us for the future for 10 years down the road. And that's why I know you came to the summit today and you're probably thinking professional development. What are they talking about? I'm still a student. I'm not in the world of work. Why do I have to develop professionally? What does professional development have to do with anything when I'm still in school? What age group is this? What form are you all in? 4 and 5? 3, 4, and 5. So maybe we have some 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds in it. Yeah? All right. So the future is now, and I want you to think about that throughout the entire conversation we have today. So there's some learning objectives coming out of today's session. When I say learning objectives, what is it that we expect you to be able to know or to be able to discuss or to think about at the end of the session? So at the end of the session, you should be able to discuss the importance of developing professionally whilst in school and preparing for the world of work. Because here what? I like the theme, right? Straight out of school. But you don't magically leave school one day and become a professional the next day. It takes some time for you to prepare yourself to be able to be the professional you want to be down the road. At the end of the session, we want you to be able to identify some competencies, and when we talk about competencies, knowledge, skills, abilities that most employers are looking for, no matter what field you're going into, whether it's accounts, whether it's engineering, whether it's teaching. There's some core things that all employers are looking for. What are they? Because I want you to start to think about them now so that you start to prepare yourself from now. We also want to talk about some strategies for transitioning. How do I make that transition into the world of work? We want to talk about the importance of respect in the work environment, and that is critical. And you don't wait until you get into the world of work to start practicing respect. In fact, you can start practicing it today. So we talk about what's respect and what it looks like. We'll also talk about the importance of trust and reliability. When someone says she's really reliable, when I ask her to do something, I know that she will do it and she'll do it properly. We're going to talk about the importance of effective communication, the importance of initiative, innovation, proactivity. If you have not heard those words before, write them down. And we're going to talk about the importance of working in teams. So what we're talking about today is preparing you for the world of work, although it's not just tomorrow. I know it's a couple years down the road, but preparing you for the world of work. So I just want you to listen to some quick stories that I'm going to tell you. And I want you to think about, while I'm telling those stories, they're going to be really short, why I'm telling you those stories, or what is the lesson behind those stories. So recently I went to, you would have heard the person who introduced me talk about the Human Resource Management Association, Trinidad and Tobago. Long name, HRMAT. I went to a HRMAT event, and I was waiting for it to start, and people are trickling in, and people are just meeting, mingling, and talking. And the first person I saw was somebody by the name of Akeem. And he walks up to me and he says, Ms. Rambajan, because guess what? I had lectured to Akeem when he was going to SAMS doing his first degree. And that was so many years ago. And he said, oh my God, it's nice to see you here. And I'm chatting and so on. And the next person I see walking down the corridor to me, and before he could even get to me, I'm seeing that he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I said, Gerard Llanos, Form 3, Point Fortin College. Yeah? So I hadn't seen Gerard Llanos for many years, but there I was meeting him at a professional event. I taught him in Form 3. I remembered him as soon as I saw him too. Recently at Atlantic, some of the first names I'm looking for David. Yeah. Some of the first names I saw when I started working there, Caribbean, Keston Fagaru, Nadia. Guess what? I started to work there and I met Carrie Dunoon, who I taught in Form 1 and PSC. Keston Fagaru, who I taught in Form 1 in Irie. And Nadia, who I taught in Irie, who's a manager at Atlantic with me. Yeah, those were some of the first people I met. I worked at Cal recently as well. And when I was sitting on the Cal interview, I saw somebody on the panel who looked a little familiar to me. And I said, wait, Avinash, that's you? Well, it's Avinash Bipak, head of strategy. I taught him in Form 1 in Irie. And then somebody mentioned that I am a doctoral candidate. A couple of years ago, I had to be assigned a supervisor, and the university put me on to this person by the name of Dr. Babwa. And when I met her, I said, but she looked a little familiar to me. And then I realized that we had met a couple of years ago at an event, and I actually had a photograph of where we took a photograph together. And now I had to work with her, and she was going to supervise my thesis. What do you think is the lesson coming out of all of those little stories that I told? Apart from the fact that I'm very old, we know that part, right? What else? Well, I'll tell you the lessons that I took from that. The world is very small, and also you cannot wait for tomorrow to start creating that good impression of yourself with people. Because you don't know when you are going to meet people again, when they're going to come back into your lives. And I keep telling young people, an interesting thing is going to happen, you know. When you are towards the end of your teens, early 20s, and you go out there to be interviewed, the people who are interviewing you are going to be much older than you. You're not really going to know them that well. But something strange is going to happen as you start to get older in the world of work. As you start to move into your 30s and 40s, and it will happen, I know it seems like it's a long time away, but it will happen. Then what's going to happen is that the people who are going to be interviewing you, some of them will be your peers. Some of them will be the people who sat in the same classroom with you in secondary school or primary school. And you'll be 40 years old, and somebody's going to be interviewing you who sat in school with you. What will they say about you? What will they remember about you? Because, you know, probably you might have changed, and they shouldn't be thinking about what you were a long, long time ago, but that's not how us humans really operate. Yeah? So, if I'm interviewing someone I knew them 30 years ago, but I remember, gosh, in school, that girl used to be teaching all the time. I'm telling my fellow panelists, well, you know, I don't know if I should say this, but you know, she had an institute in school, she'd be teaching all the time. So you have to be careful about how you behave, not from when you get a job, you know. You have to start to decide who you want to be and how you want to be remembered, how you want to be known. You have to start working on that today. So when I say the future is now, I want to put it into that context as well. You have to start to think about what is it that I want to be, and more importantly, who do I want to be, and to start to work on that today. So when I say we cannot wait, that's what I mean. We cannot wait to start that thing I'm calling professional development. So time goes by quickly and the world is small. I want you to remember those things. Write it down on your notepads. I see a lot of people passing around notes all the time. I'm not sure what it is you're writing, but write this one down. Time goes by quickly and the world is small. That's one of the things I kept with me from being a teacher. I hear everything at the back of the classroom and I see everything. Yeah? So time goes by quickly and the world is small. Time goes by very quickly. Before you know it, I don't know how I became 52. Fabian, I don't know how it happened. Honestly, I don't know when it happened, I don't know how it happened. I woke up one morning and I was 52, right? And it's gonna happen to everybody in this room too. If you're lucky, you're gonna end up being 52. Because many people don't make it to be 52. Yeah? If you're lucky. So time goes by quickly and the world is small. And I want you to think about time, not just as the time between now and when you get to be an old person over the hill like me, but I'm talking about time, your time every single day. What are you doing with all the seconds and the minutes and the hours when you are in school? Today is not this talk, but I do want to remind you, especially for the young ladies, that there are many parts of the world where young women like you don't have the opportunity to be in school. Yeah? So what are you doing with the opportunity to be in school? So we have to start preparing for tomorrow today. And that's what we're doing here. So I want to throw you into the next question. What are employers looking for and what will they be interested in young people, no matter what field? What are some of the things you believe they're looking for? What kind of employees they're looking for? And I don't want you to tell me about the 5 O levels or whether it's a degree, because I always say to people, when you see an advertisement on the newspaper and it asks, let's say it asks for 5 O levels, one, English, maths, one must be a science. When you go for that interview, don't believe that that 5 O levels, the English, the maths, the science subject, that's anything special. Because everybody else who was called for the interview has that same thing. Yeah? It means that you must have something more, something else, something different, something special, or you must be something more that you can then present to these people to say, hey, choose me, take me, I'm the best candidate. So I'm asking you again, what are employers looking for? What do you think they might be looking for? What do you think they'd be interested in when hiring young people? What are some of the things you think they might be interested in? What are some of the skills or some of the behaviors? And if you haven't thought about these things before, start thinking about them now, because that's why you're in school. You're not in school to stay in school. You're in school to prepare you for something else. So the thing that you're preparing for, start to ask yourself, what is it looking for? Or even if I'm not going out there to get a job, maybe I'm going out there to make a job, maybe I'll be an entrepreneur. Or what are some of the things that I need to be? Any ideas? What are some of the things that employers are looking for? Yes? Well, experience, yes, sometimes they're looking for experience. And that could be a little problematic for young people because they say, oh gosh, well, I'm young, I just come out of school, where will I get the experience? Right? But I'll tell you, I'll tell you, that experience thing, even that you could kind of tackle a little bit. Because here what? You may be too young to have a job, but you could be volunteering in your church. You could be working in your community center. You could be doing things in your village. So you can still gain experience even when you are not in an actual job. What else are employers looking for? I saw another hand go up.
Skills? Skills?
Skills. Tell me what kinds of skills.
If you're able to work in team.
If you're able to work in teams, very good. I love how you said that. Well put together, respectful, punctual persons. Yeah? Anything else? The gentleman down at the back? Well, education, and that will be your subjects, and so that will get you into the interview in the first place. Yeah? Anything else? Professional behavior. So that's exactly what we're here to talk about today. Because today I want to talk about what are professional behaviors. Yes?
Someone who's determined or willing to get with them.
Somebody who is
Determined or willing to get with them.
determined
Or willing.
or willing to get work done. So you're talking about people's, we call that work ethics, their whole attitude to work. Okay, so let's see what else I want to share with you. So we already asked that, what are some of your thoughts on what employers are looking for? So I'm going to show you now, and these are the things we're going to be talking about. Some of the common competencies. And I said competencies have to do with knowledge, skills, abilities. The common competencies that employers are looking for. One, the ability to build relationships based on respect and to show respectful behaviors. I'm going to say it again. The ability to build relationships based on respect and to show respectful behaviors. Another thing employers are looking for, the ability to build relationships based on trust. So we're going to have to talk about what is trust. Ability to communicate. And here we're talking about oral communication, written communication, body language. You have to be able to communicate effectively. The ability to act with initiative, to be proactive, to show innovation, and to show entrepreneurial thinking. And Aaron is going to talk a lot more about entrepreneurial thinking later on, and the ability to work in teams. So I'm telling you, the subjects, that's great, and you're going on to do your other qualifications, that's great. But these are some of the things that employers are looking for, no matter what the qualifications are when you walk through that door. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about. So what's respect and what does it look like to you? And this is really important to me. What does respect look like to you? What do we mean when we say behaving with respect or showing respect? Because it's easy for us to say, well, you have to show respect. But what does that mean? How does one show respect? How does one not show respect? Thoughts? And respect for whom? By the way, respect for others only? Do we have anybody willing to start to speak? Respect. How do you do this thing called respect? How do you show it? If you have an answer, put your hand up. Uh-huh. The way you carry about yourself. But what exactly does it mean when you say the way you carry about yourself? Your attitude, well, the thing is, I know attitude is a word we love to use these days. And, attitude, right? But an attitude is really something that you have in your mind. It's the way you think about something. What I really see would be your behaviors. So when you talk about how you carry about yourself, what do you mean when you say the way you carry about yourself? You're right. Yes, there's a lady with your hand up there. Let me see. Respect. What does it look like? How do you show it?
One way is the way you dress.
Definitely.
The way you deal with other people. Yeah.
Okay, so the way you present yourself, yes, you show respect by doing that. So a simple thing, you're in school and you have school rules, and your school rules probably say certain things about how you dress. Showing some respect for your school rules. Start with, are you wearing the things you're supposed to wear? Wearing some things that you're not supposed to wear? I mean, I just glance around the room and I'm certain some of the things that I'm seeing aren't part of school uniforms, right? So respect. What else does it look like?
The
How do
way,
you show it?
the way you talk to others and how you carry yourself around them.
So how you talk to others, and I'm hearing that phrase again, yes, how you carry yourself around, how you carry about yourself. What else? Respect. manners, and what's the last one? Brought up, see. I've heard that one. How you're brought up. Because how you're brought up, that's going to impact on the manners that you show. Yeah? How you carry about yourself. Definitely. So manners and brought up, see. Mm-hmm.
Listening to others.
Listening to others. I don't know who's saying it. Who's saying it? Stand up, who's saying it, please? Listening. Thank you, and very, very good. Listening. It seems like a little thing. It's actually huge. Because one of the sure ways for me to show that I'm respecting a speaker is to be listening. And to show that I'm listening. So when you're in class and your teacher is speaking, one of the sure ways to show respect is to actually be looking at your teacher, making the eye contact, putting your entire body in a direction that says, I'm listening. So listening, it's easy to say the way I carry about myself, but what exactly does it mean? Part of it is when people are speaking, am I listening? Am I focusing? Am I holding my body in such a way that I look like if I'm listening? Yeah? Practice when you're younger. You see how somebody said brought up, see? You see, when you practice something over and over and over and over, it becomes easier to do it, right? And when you practice a certain kind of respect when you're younger, then it's easier to do it as you get older. Yeah? So those mannerisms that it brought up, see how you are brought up. Yeah? You practice certain things when you are young, and then as you get older, it becomes easier for you to look respectful because you are practicing the behaviors that go with respect. Sometimes even the facial expressions, right? The facial expressions that we give, because we practice certain facial expressions, and some of them are not always respectful. Sometimes we don't even know when we are making the facial expressions. You know, from years and years of sitting on interviews, there's always a funny little thing that happens. You know, people come into interviews and they try to be on their best behavior ever. But as the interview goes on, sometimes they slip into themselves. You know, and some of the young ladies who trying to be so professional and looking like, you know, they so sweet, they can't match ants, as we say in Trinidad, right? After a little while and the interview wears on, then you start to see the neck moving, the eyes moving up, you know. Anybody tells you any little thing, well, why are you talking to me, boy? Actually, I saw some of that earlier, right here, because sometimes you don't even know you're doing those things because you are practicing the facial expressions and the body languages that don't look respectful on a regular basis.
I mean, right now, I think HR managers, they look at their social media presence. Everybody, even like if you go to the embassy, they want to know what social media you have attached to it. I think that's also added to respect because people, they form a picture of you, type of person you are. And if you have respect from what pictures you post or they post,
Definitely.
you're right.
So we're going to have a whole talk about that today. Yeah? So what is respect and what does it look like to you? And this is something that I want you to pay the most attention to. If you don't go away with anything else, then you think about this before you leave. Yeah? Or you carry this with you. So respect in the work environment. These are some things for you to think about. You're not in the work environment yet, but you're preparing for the work environment now. Respecting others. And what does respecting others mean? As I said, listening, eye contact, focus. You're sitting in a meeting. Think about it like how you sit in the classroom. Now, I know when I was going to school 100 years ago, we couldn't just sit down however we wanted in the classroom. Yeah? Because if you're sitting in the classroom and I'm teaching and you're looking like you're taking a nap, then that's not very respectful. Yeah? So when we talk about respect, it's not just what you say, it's your body language, it's your posture. Do you look like you're focused on work if you're slumped down in your seat and taking a snooze? But if you don't look, if that doesn't look like work in a work environment, it also doesn't look like work in a school environment. And I hope the teachers who are here are reminding the children in their class, because they're mostly children, to sit up and look alert and pay attention and look in front. Because all of those things help young people to practice for when they go into the world of work. Because I am sure Mr. Fabian Joseph doesn't expect when he's having a board meeting for anybody to be lolly off so on a chair, or to be in the board meeting but they have their head on the table. You won't expect that, Fabian. Yeah? So the respectful behaviors in terms of body language, facial expression, everything you do, you have to start practicing them now. So you have to respect others, but you also have to respect yourself. Every time you speak properly, every time you dress properly, every time you present yourself somewhere, every time you do a piece of work and you do it to your best, you're not doing it just for somebody else, you know. It's not that I'm doing this piece of work because the teacher requires it, it's not done well. Have some respect for yourself. As I tell my 9-year-old, in my old age, I have a 9-year-old. Sometimes when I say, well, you know, Adam, don't forget you have to behave nicely when you go to music class. So don't forget you have to behave nicely in class. Doesn't mean he listens to me, by the way, right? But I'm telling him the messages over and over. And he says, well, why I have to be on my best behavior? And I don't say, well, because you'll get licks or because the teacher will get vexed. I say because I want you to show behaviors that will make you proud of yourself. Do behaviors that you will be happy with. Do behaviors that you can be proud of. Because you have to respect people, but you also have to respect yourself. Show respect for yourself. And we have to remember that, especially the young ladies, how you're managing your body in the school environment and the work environment. You know, I remember, well, this would have been 1995, I went to Point Wharton College to teach. And it used to amaze me the antics these young ladies will do to get under the skirt to pull down the shirt while the whole school is looking on. And it always made me think, aren't you a little bit conscious of your own self and respecting your own self? Manage yourself properly. Yes, so it's about respecting others, but it's about respecting yourself. It's about respecting property. The students who go around damaging schools, writing up on the wall, kicking chairs and tables. Respect property. Don't feel like nobody paid for those things. All of us paid for those things in your school. In your school, taxpayers' dollars pay for all of those things. Respect time. The teachers want something by a certain time, a deadline. Make sure that you get your stuff in on time. Yeah? Respect your time. Focus. Focusing is also part of respect. So again, if people are speaking, focus. If you have to do something, respect yourself and focus. You go to a show, the musicians are playing. Focus. All people deserve it. Now there's a phrase people love to use when we talk about respect. They love to say, well, respect is earned. You have to earn my respect. Have you heard that phrase before? And I get very worried when I hear people saying that. You have to earn my respect. So does it mean that every person has to do something great for you to respect them? I'm saying to you, if you're passing on the street and there's a homeless person lying down there, it tells me more about you than it tells me about him if you treat him with respect. People don't have to earn your respect. Showing respect tells me something about you. You show respect to every single person that you meet. It's going to show you up. It's going to make you look great. And remember that communication is the vehicle through which you show respect. And we're going to talk more about that when we do the second presentation. So what is trust and what does it look like? Tell me what's trust, anybody? What is trust? Because if I have to hire someone, I want someone who's trustworthy. I want someone I can trust. What does it mean to trust someone? What makes you trust someone? Yes. Someone you can believe in and someone you can rely on. Very good. Yeah? Anything else? And what do we mean by rely? And with a call here, there you go. And if you say you'll do something, you'll do it. Yeah? What else? Anything else about trust? But that's basically it. You wrapped it up. That is what trust is about. Yeah? So trust in the work environment and in the school environment and in the home, in life. Some simple things. Some simple things. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Say what you mean and mean what you say. That's how you will make people trust you. Don't say things that you don't mean. Yeah? And mean what you say. Don't go around saying things and you're just saying them for so. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Do what you say you do. I don't know how many of you know this story. It used to be popular long ago. The Princess and the Frog. Well, the original version is a very simple story. The princess goes out into the forest, is playing with a golden ball. It's her favorite toy. She loses it. And up comes along a frog, and the frog says, hey, I can get that for you, but if I get it for you, you have to take me home to live with you in the castle. And she wants the ball, so she says, sure, please get the ball for me, I'll take you home. He gives her the ball, and then she guess what she does. She runs away with the ball back.
I'm trying to run into just help you be even greater than you already are. Right, so I now call on our board director, Ms. Julian Alfred, to introduce our second speaker. Ms. Alfred?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We're continuing. And as Ms. Bunny would have said, time goes by quickly, and this morning has really been flying by. It is always a pleasure and also humbling to introduce a keynote speaker who has accomplished so much, even in the face of adversity. This morning we have with us an individual who was born in Thornton, is an accomplished music producer, educator, and entrepreneur, whose journey exemplifies resilience and passion. After losing his sight at the age of 9 due to glaucoma, he defied odds by becoming the first person as a visually impaired person in the Caribbean to pass the Caribbean Exams Council's CSEC exams in physics and chemistry. His love for music was ignited early in life. He comes from a musical family's background. This musical journey was also fueled by a scholarship from his church to learn the piano. As a founder of Inner Sanctum Entertainment Limited, he has produced over 100 instrumentals and recorded more than 40 songs across various genres, created audio experiences that resonate with listeners. In addition to his music career, he is skilled in Python and a website, and he's also a website developer, running a tech company devoted to innovation. He developed Audio Advantage, an initiative that fosters collaboration between persons with disabilities, including those who are blind or visually impaired, and sighted individuals, promoting inclusive opportunities in audio production. This gentleman was also a guest presenter at the University of the West Indies for the master's program in entrepreneurship and innovation. He believes in giving back to the community and actively volunteers at his church, teaching music to children. His commitment to advocacy was recognized when he received the 2023 Trinidad and Tobago National Youth Award for Youthful Resilience. He shared his insights on inclusion and empowerment when he was recently invited to speak at the 2023 UWI Symposium on Inclusion, where he discussed the benefits of tertiary level upskilling through micro-credentials. With a steadfast dedication to excellence and faith at the core of his endeavors, this individual continues to inspire others through his work in music and technology. We will be introducing and reintroduce an innovator, a music producer, an advocate for inclusion. We welcome Mr. Aaron George.
Good morning, everybody. All right, so let me see what these papers are on here. Thanks a lot. All right, so I want to say a good morning to the president of Antilles Credit Union, Mr. Fabian Joseph, all of the board members. I would like to say a special good morning to the wonderful Ms. Bunny Ramachan, who would have presented before, and the other presenters. I would love to say good morning to the teachers, the students, and all other invited guests. In other words, all protocols observed. Today, I am the feature address. And it is quite an honor to be here. You know, when it is I was presented with the opportunity or the offer, I was quite delighted that, you know, I get to share with the various persons, various schools, teachers, children, and, you know, one of the thoughts that came to me was, what can I say to change your lives? I think, you know, it's a very rare opportunity where you get to say something or you get to do something that has the potential to change someone's life. And guess what? It happens every day. When people look at us, when people speak to us, when people hear us, depending on what we do or what we say, it can have an impact. So my question to myself was, what impact can I have? So I really am appreciative of the previous speaker. She would have softened the battleground for me, so to speak, in getting you all active and engaged and stuff like that, because I intend on doing the same thing. So I would like to know, and you all have to speak loudly and clearly so that I can hear you. I would like to know from which schools or which schools are being represented here today. So you could just take one volunteer from each school, say your name, and then your school. Stand and say it loudly, your name, and then your school.
My name is Amanda Dikoto, and I am from Point Fortin East Secondary.
Hi, Amanda. Thank you very much. Next school.
My name is Janie Milan, and I am from Destiny Secondary School.
All right. Nice to meet you. Next school.
I am Ariella, and I am from Point Fortin.
Say your name again for me, please.
Ariane Lala.
Ariane
Yeah.
Lala?
Yeah.
Awesome. Very musical name. Next school. Oh, are all the schools?
I am Anisha Adams, and I am from Port West Secondary School.
All right, awesome. Are there any other schools or that's it? All right, so that was a little exercise in exactly what Bonnie was speaking about earlier. So, in a situation like this, you all are around persons who are looking at you, listening to you. You all are in the midst of teachers from other schools. You all are in the midst of the directors and the managers of Antilles Credit Union. And as Ms. Rambachan would have mentioned earlier, opportunities can be generated anywhere. You have to show, you have to show up, you have to represent yourself in the best way possible. Now, in her session, a lot of you would have spoken, you all would have engaged, you all would have interacted. Remember, moving forward, when you interact, say your name. I was burning to stand and say my name and ask a question, but then I remembered, well, I'm going to present after, so I can keep it for a little later, right? So when you are in a situation like this, find a question to ask because you never know. I may be looking for someone to be a lawyer in 10 years for my business. I may be looking for someone who will be a programmer, someone who might be into real estate. So always say your name so that everyone knows who is speaking. It means that 10 years down the road, I have my interview set up and Ariana comes in. How can I forget a name like Ariane Lala? From the time I hear the name, I'll be like, oh, you were the girl from the Antilles GS Generation S function. So please take, all of the wonderful advice that you all are going to receive today. All right? Always try to get yourself involved. I heard one of my favorite words being used before, networking. I love it. Networking is so important. Network amongst your friends, network wherever you can. Show yourself. Speak, be heard, share ideas, because that is what moves us forward. That is what drives us. So I just want to take a couple stabs at the wonderful introduction that was read about me, and just to bring some things into perspective. So, visually impaired is a word that says, or a phrase that says, you are unable to see 20/20 or perfect vision. Visually impaired means from 2019 or 2021 all the way to zero, you are visually impaired because either you cannot see things as far as as you are supposed to see it, as close as you are supposed to see it, or as wide as you are supposed to see it. So visually impaired is anyone who might be wearing glasses, you might be wearing contacts, you might be wearing what they call it, the metal band, and you use some sort of aid for sight. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to change your life or do anything differently, but it's a spectrum. Visually impaired covers quite a lot of ground. All of that to say that I am not visually impaired. I am blind. That means I cannot see a thing. So a lot of times, persons would ask the question, so you can see anything. Let's get that out of the way immediately. I can see zero for now, right? And I have to throw that in there because the way things are going, there are two possible outcomes for me. One, I receive a miracle from God, and that is a very strong possibility. Or two, technology gets to a place where they are able to rectify nerve issues. And maybe there might be some doctors in here that might remember me saying that right now in 2024, we cannot fix nerves, at least not the optic nerve. So if you want something to dedicate your life to, have fun. Right. So just to stab at some of the things that were mentioned about me, I would have been the first person in the Caribbean who's blind to successfully pass chemistry and physics at CSEC. What wasn't said was I failed the first time. I would have been mentioned as, an educator teaching people music. What was not said was 10 of my friends, I can name them, are better at music than I am. It was said that I guest present at the master's program. Masters, you hear? Masters. I teaching people, or I presenting to people who are doing their masters. I do not have a master's. As a matter of fact, when it is I was going to do my degree in geophysics, and we'll get to that in a little bit, I was accepted into a school in the US, given scholarships, and then I had to be deferred because somewhere in the paperwork, all of my paperwork, including the arduous journey of SATs, was lost. They acknowledged that they received it, however, they had no idea where it went. So what happened was I had to FedEx my information back to them overnight, a very expensive process. And then when they got it, they say, yes, we accept you, you can start, but next year. The way scholarships work, there is no next year. You take them now. So that fell through. What happened next? A lot of times we see persons with so many successes, and we have no idea how many things they would have failed at first. And let's put failed in air quotes, because if I failed, then I wouldn't be here today. So I would say setbacks. Let's call it setbacks and challenges. Many things we do along our journey are not going to work. You would hear very successful people say, I tried for 5 years and failed. I tried for 5 years and I was not successful. But guess what? In the 6th year, I became successful. In the 7th year, I became successful. In the 10th year, I became successful. All of this to say, failure or quote unquote failure, let's say setbacks, are not the end. Setbacks are never the end. We only fail when we give up. What does that mean? It has a huge implication. It means that we control if we fail or not. And that's wonderful. That's amazing. Because if it is, I control whether I fail or not, I can just decide to not fail. What does that mean? Keep trying. So now I'm going to engage you all. I want everyone to say, keep trying. Yeah, I guess I go home. Keep trying. And I want you all to write that down. Keep trying. As long as we keep trying, then failure is not in our vocabulary. Setbacks will happen, challenges will arise, but we keep trying. And that's what I did. After I would have failed the first time, I said, you know what? I felt really bad about it. I felt really discouraged about it. I felt really depressed about it. But I kept trying. How was I able to keep trying? Well, I'll tell you. A few things. One, I have a support system like no other. Between family and friends, and you all, don't mind my slight bias. Destiny is awesome, and the teachers there, right? I had a really, really, really wonderful support system. And when I look back, I must say that God would have been guiding me in a particular way for a particular purpose. A friend just yesterday was telling me that a truck hit the back of her car. The car spun and hit another vehicle. And she just came out and looked at the situation. First blind person in the Caribbean to pass physics and chemistry. If you all want the secret sauce is Jesus Christ. And I cannot, with all that, and say that I'm giving you all the entire recipe. If it is I give you all the recipe without the sugar, if it is you're making a cake, it's going to be a mess. If it is I am telling you all how to make a nice drink, and I leave out the key part of the drink, it's going to be a mess. So what am I saying? I am saying that Jesus Christ worked for me, and I'm certain if given proper attention, he can also work for you. So, again, setbacks, quote-unquote failures, what do we continue to do? What do we continue to do? That's not a rhetorical question, you also must answer. Okay, so if, let's say, we do an exam and we are unsuccessful the first time, what do we do? If it doesn't go from a driver's license, yes, me, when driving, self-driving cars, we should first in line. I go for my driver's license because it's Trinidad here. They will say, but they still have to go for your driver's license even if it is your self-driving car. But we will do that another day. So, if it is I fail the exam, what do I do? If it is I go for an interview, and for whatever reason I am not successful, what do I do? If it is I go to learn to swim, and I keep sinking because I'm just not good at it, what do I do? If it is I'm trying to make a friend with someone and that person just so resistant, what do I do? You see, you keep trying in all of these cases because it's just so applicable. It's just so applicable. So keep trying is one of the steps. Again, the previous presenter, Ms. Bonnie Ramachandra, made things so easy for me because she touched on so many points that I can just come here and elaborate and I don't have to look at my notes. So, one of the things that you realize, and this gets back into part of my journey, is I would have started very science-oriented. I would have had great aspirations to do chemistry and physics and geophysics and geoinformatics and land information systems, yes, all of the wonderful things. And I believe that I would have been capable of doing it if I had continued to pursue it. I would have been putting things in place for that, my support structure would have been putting things in place for that, my academic achievements and trajectory would have also been in preparation for the field of science. But it's kind of funny that none of my actual qualifications and things that I do now include science. But as far as what's written down, how did that happen? Well, I kept trying, but I kept trying, and I also expanded. When I saw an opportunity to learn something new, I went and did it. When I was younger and you offered me the scholarship to go to learn music, I could have said, well, I don't really want to do music. Just because I'm blind don't mean I have to be next Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles, come on. Like we already have them, and they are wonderful, right? But I didn't say that. I said, all right, I saw a need in church. We needed a keyboardist. And I couldn't just continue smashing my head against the keys and hoping that people would notice it sounded bad. So I said, you know what, I will take the opportunity, and I went to learn music. Guess what happened? When I went, I actually found that I enjoyed it. A lot of musicians and producers will talk about, well, I play music since I'm born. That was not me. I actually had to learn and get into it. But then they provided me opportunities from the teachers, the friends that I met, and that word again, networking. At the class, I met people who were so much more talented at playing the keyboard, at playing the guitar, playing the drums. and I would have learned from all of them. Another thing that we must pay very close attention to is learn from every experience. When we succeed at something, it is very, very difficult to learn from that situation. Not impossible to, but it is very, very difficult in pulling out, well, what did I learn? Because we're so happy that we were successful. Guess where we learn a lot? When we get setbacks. And you see, I'm trying to move away from the word fail. When we get setbacks, we get an opportunity to learn from it. But we have to be able to have that conversation. We have to be able to say, okay, what did I do wrong in this case? What went wrong? What did I not do enough of? Think about the lights, think about the air condition, think about even the building that we are in. If it is we kept building wooden houses, we wouldn't have this center right now. If it is we always thought about, if it is we kept just, okay, well, I just use flambeau, I've been using flambeaus and lamps and firesides for the last 30 years. My grandmother used to use flambeau, my great grandmother used to use flambeau, so I know flambeau for the rest of my life. No, we have to ask, why is I have to have an open flame in my house? Wouldn't it be better if it was not an open flame that if it tip over I could burn down my whole house? Why does I have to be smelling kerosene burning in my house and then somebody come over and to try and find some flowers to crush up and, yeah, this is what they used to do back in the 1700s. Find some flowers and crush it up and try to make my house smell nice. No, it's asking questions, it's challenging the things that we grow up with. And you challenge the bad things. Yes, we like to talk about challenging the bad things, or the quote-unquote things we see as bad. But we also have to challenge the things that we're comfortable with. We have to challenge it because that is how we make it better. I am certain that everyone in here is very appreciative right now of the air conditioning unit. Somebody had to ask, well, what will happen if it is the room hot and we put a fan in the hot room and the fan just blows the hot breeze? Now everybody will be like, well, I know we've been doing it. Let me just keep windows open and the airflow will flow and we'll have nice cool breeze. But then what happened when it is week out, when the window because rain falling outside? Somebody had to ask a question. What about if something could blow cold breeze, cold wind? Somebody had to ask the question. And you all have the opportunity to ask the questions. Train yourselves to ask questions. Challenge things, whether it is good, whether it is bad. Here's the nice thing about things that are true. When they are challenged, they only get better. They don't get worse. When somebody is afraid of a challenge, it's because they go, I wonder if this might turn out wrong. I wonder if this might get worse. I wonder if this might... You understand? We have to challenge things so that we grow, so that we get better, so that we make sure we are on the cutting edge. Now here's the thing. Sometimes we challenge something, we get a new answer, and it is incorrect. What do we do? Come on, man, you are sleeping on me.
Try again.
Okay, keep trying. Keep asking questions. So, I want you all to leave here today with a few things. Ask questions. 1. Keep trying. 2. When it is all else fails, you look to the left, you look to the right, you look up, you look down, you call your mommy, you call your daddy, you call your friends, you call your teachers. People might just be busy. Guess what you could do? Lord Jesus, I don't know what's going on right now in my life, but I want your peace, I want your comfort. I want you to help me, Lord. And guess what? As far as I know, he has promised that he will be there when we call him. So before I continue, how much more time do I have?
5 minutes.
All right, so I have 5 minutes. So we're gonna get a little bit interactive. And again, guys, keep in mind, I am an entrepreneur. What does that mean? It means that at the moment, I have 3 companies. And 10 years from now, I'm probably going to have about 3 companies per year, 30 companies. Right? And so that you all know about, what's his name? Tony Robbins. He has 171 companies. So 30 companies in 10 years, I think I still have to reach a little bit more than that. And I'll be looking for wonderful, innovative thinkers, people who will ask the hard questions. So from each school, I want a representative to introduce themselves, and I want you to tell me what is one thing that you will leave here with today. Anyone can start. Please remember, say your name and tell me one thing that you have learned, but not just learned, but that you would leave here with today and put it in your life. Because you find it really valuable, you know, we were anything, it's still work, you know. So, we'll start with, whoever gets the mic first. So your name, the school that you represent, and what one thing that you will take away from all that you have learned thus far for the day. Remember, your future career can depend on it.
My name is Jakia Taylor, and I learned to try again.
Jakia Taylor, what school?
Jakia Taylor.
Jakia Taylor, wonderful. And what school? All right, awesome. Try again. So somebody else can't take that. It's already been taken. Go ahead, somebody else. Other school.
Hi, my name is Adriana Blair, and I learned that no matter the setbacks, I can keep trying.
All right, I was taken, so give me another one. What else are you going to take with you?
Hi, my name is Jamie Milan, and
Say your name again, didn't hear it.
Jamie Milan,
Jamie Milan.
and from Wesley Secondary School, and I have a new life to what I want to do in the future. So I know where I want to go in my career path now, and I know to put Jesus first and try.
All right, awesome. All right, next school.
My name is Faith Elliott. I'm from Port Mountain West, and I learned today don't give up on your dreams.
All right, Peter. All right, next school.
My name is Alicia.
Alicia, what's your last name?
Williams.
Alicia Williams, all right?
I'm from Williams, and I'm trying to do my.
All right. So that's all these schools, correct? All right, awesome. So you all know that we are here because under the auspices of the wonderful Anthony's Credit Union. So I'll give you all a little story about my experience with Anthony's. When I was in Standard 5, some ladies would have come to the school and they would have said, hey, you know, we have a student saving program. That probably wasn't the exact name of it, but that's how I remember it. And they would have come into the school and they would have given us a really nice speech about saving and preparing for our future finances. And my sister and I, we were in the same school. We were so inspired by that, that every time we got, let's say, $10, $15, at the end of the week, we would go up on a Friday and we would deposit it into Anthony's. And this happened for a number of years. And, you know, in my early 20s, some years after I would have probably forgotten about the account, I asked myself, I said, Aaron, you know, you have an account in Anthony's. What's going on with that account? So I called And I say, my name is George, I was checking up on my account. I had it since wherever that was. And, he said, oh wow, Mr. George, we have heard from you in a while. I said, yes, I just kind of checking out on the different accounts and everything like that. And they said, you have, well, over $3,000. And I was like, I don't remember paying so much money there. How did that happen? And, it just goes to show again that the little things that we do when we are young over time, it accumulates and then it bears fruit. So I hope that those types of systems are still in place where children can really start saving. It wasn't a bank that came and did it wasn't an insurance company that came and did it, it's Anthony's. And it really had a significant impact on me. I was just about 12 years old, and I was given the opportunity to have my own account. I was given the opportunity to save my own money. And saving is so important, because guess what? When we save, and then we want to do something in later life, let's say you're 25, 26, I want to start my first business. Guess what? I have a savings that I can go and pull from to start it. Guess what? Even more, I have a financial relationship with an institution over years that I can then leverage for a loan, because I might have 100,000 in my account, but I might need $1 million to start. How do I go from 100,000 to $1 million in the space of an idea? Get a loan. Get the relationship so that you cultivate the relationship so that it makes getting these types of opportunities possible. And it goes back again to networking. Networking happens every day, whether we like it or not, whether we are intentional about it or not. What impact are we having on the people around us? Keep trying, keep learning, put Jesus first. Amen. Thank you.
I don't know, I can tell you, I am energized and I am inspired. He really brought up the thing home for us. Everything talking about empowerment, everything talking about overcoming obstacles and hurdles and recognizing that with setbacks are opportunities to learn. Don't look at it as failure, look at it as a setback. And my important takeaway from his presentation is that making an impact is something that we can all do, from as young as you are, even younger, to as young as I am myself. And having purpose and as well as keep trying. So thank you again, Mr. George. We want to give him another round of applause. Now, we have been from our next speaker before, so we have to read it again. And they say if it likes to it twice. So, Ms. Robertson is back with us. She is going to take us through our third session. And she will start talking about it.
Developing your professional self. Yeah? You're hearing me on this first table? Yeah? All right. And now we're going to talk about something a little bit different, but just as important. We're going to be talking about managing your digital footprint. What do I mean by that? Yeah, what does that mean? Tell me. You had a light bulb moment there, you said, oh, what does that mean? Managing your digital footprint. Tell me. Talk more about that last part. Don't say the first one, say talk about the other part. Can I have a mic for this lady? Where's the managing your digital footprint. That's what we want to talk about. And I just want to make the point that how you manage your digital footprint is also linked to your professional development and how people see you as a professional. Yes, so tell me what you think it means.
We post on social media.
It has to do with you and social media. Yeah, very good. Managing your digital footprint. Anything anybody else wants to add? Now, even before we get into it, I want to ask you a question. Do you think that what you have on social media has anything to do with your school, or why would people put on social media has anything to do with their work? Is it that there's two separate things? Like, how do you feel about that? Can we have a mic for that lady?
Post on social media, like if we go to work and if you're a client, then the person scrolling through just see on social media and you're gonna see this person caring about themselves and party and thing, and then they'll go back to what you do. When you see a professional, and they'll be like, I wish you do.
Okay, so you feel that there's some sort of relationship. Anybody else? Social media, what you post on social media, and your school or your work. Is it connected? Should it be connected? Your thoughts? No thoughts? Okay. So I'm going to ask you a little bit. I have one more answer. Okay, good. Let me hear you.
If you say something, if you say anything negative, it will bring down the school.
Okay, so you're touching on a very nice point here, and I'm going to come back to that. So anyway, let's start this session. But before we get into the actual session, I have a question for you. Now I know you're here in school uniform today, but I'm sure most of you love to dress up, right? You love perfume, you love shoes, you love clothes, so do I. I want to ask you a question. What are your favorite brands? Polo. This lady likes polo, okay. Tell me. You like? You like a Nike? Nike or Nike? Some people say Nike. Yeah, okay. Anybody else? What are your favorite brands? Aaron, you have a brand? You have a favorite brand with clothes or shoes? Yamaha, alright. Brands. Okay, what brands do you all like? Crocs? Yeah. The ugly shoes everyone loves. Okay. Alright. Miss Purity, tell me about your brands. What brands do you like? Gucci. Miss Purity likes Gucci. Anybody else? Your favorite brands? Yes. Saint Laurent. Anybody else? Brands. What brands do you like? Tommy Hilfiger. I do love a Tommy Hilfiger dress, I have to tell you. Yeah? Now, I'm going to ask you another question. And it's really going to be about, what do you usually associate with your favorite brands? Why do you like those brands? So, why do you like Tommy Hilfiger? The quality. Is everybody listening? So this lady here says she likes Tommy Hilfiger because it's quality. The Tommy Hilfiger dresses I have, they're quality. They can last a long time. They're high quality dresses, they don't look cheap. And they're not cheap, right? So, some of the brands that you like, why do you like them? Why do you like Nike? Because it looks good, so it's pretty. It's fashionable. Tell me, some of the other brands you like, why do you like them? Why do you like the brands you like? What brands do you like? Polo, why do you like polo? Polo what? Polo shirts, polo t-shirts, polo dress. Okay, why do you like polo? Okay, because it looks good, okay. Anybody else? The brands that you like, why do you like those brands? Or what is usually associated with those brands? So I'm going to take Miss Lala, then come to you, right? Okay, so Ms. Lala is saying that she likes the brands she likes because they're reliable. Let me take this lady with the pink boat and I'll come down to that.
Some of the brands that I like, majority of them are very like Salazar.
Guys, hold on a second. I can barely hear what she's saying because you all are talking amongst yourselves. So we need to have a conversation one at a time. You can get a turn, but let's do it where one person is speaking at a time. Yeah.
Majority of the brands, some of their styles are very unique. So it's not just Nike, but other brands as well.
Alright, good. So you like something unique. Some people are saying they like something that's quality. Some people say they like beauty. Missing the red.
I want to know why it's
Okay, Miss, what's your name, Miss? Mrs. Williams? Mrs. Williams is asking a good question. The iPhone brand, why do you like the iPhone brand? So this is the quality, Miss Williams. The quality of the camera, the quality of the pictures. Features. It don't stick. That's what the lady from here told me. It don't stick. Okay, I'm not an iPhone user because I find it hard to use. Right? So I like iPhone. Alright, so brands. Okay, regroup. I'm asking you questions about the brands you like. What's usually associated with the brands you like? I'm hearing things like beauty, quality, something unique, so uniqueness, something special, high quality. It works well. I'm gonna flip. It don't stick to, it works well. Yes, I'm seeing you, but I need you to finish my sentence.
If I see a celebrity wear it, you wouldn't want to wear it. So it's like following fame.
So sometimes you like a brand because somebody else likes it and you assume if they can have it and they're rich and famous, maybe I should like that too. Yeah? So, any other brands you like? Hey, guys, we're in an Antilles function today. Antilles is a brand too, you know. Well, they'll tell us about what Antilles is associated with, that Antilles brand. They'll probably tell us more about that later on. But Antilles is also a brand. Yeah? So when we like a brand, then you hear a number of good things that we associate with that brand. I'm going to ask you another question now. But I want you to watch the question that I've put up on the screen very carefully. What's your brand? And when I ask you what's your brand, I'm not asking you what brand you like. What's your brand? What's your personal brand? What's the Aaron brand about? What's the Aaron Lala brand about? What's the Amanda brand about? What's the Angeles brand about? What's that brand? Do you have a brand? What's your brand? The thing is, you may not have thought about it before, but you do have a brand. Maybe you're not putting enough effort into paying attention to what is your brand, but you do have a brand. And just how when we talk about Gucci or Nike or Tommy Hilfiger dresses, and we associate certain characteristics with those brands, then when we talk about Ariane Lala or Amanda or JD, those brands have certain things associated with them as well. What is it that you want associated with your brand? Yeah? And what is your brand? What's the brand that you would want to put out there? Because you never thought about it before today that you have a brand, but you do. Yes, I'm just bringing that to your attention. What do you want people to associate with your brand? So when they hear that Bunny Rambajan is going to speak somewhere, what will they think if they know me from before? That's a brand. Is she going to be shy and hide behind the podium? No, not really. That's not my brand. Yeah? Am I going to have to read off of the slides because I don't know what I'm talking about? No, not really. That's not my brand. Yeah? Am I going to be afraid to speak up? No, that's not my brand. What's your brand? And what do you want people to associate with your brand? Yeah? I have an answer to the question. That's excellent.
Yeah, abuse and quality and luxury.
Okay, that's your brand? You? Okay, excellent. So quality and luxury, all right. Yeah? So I'm switching the question a little bit. What social media platforms are you on? And I also want aunties to think about this question now. Everybody's thinking about their own brand. Brand Aaron, brand Bunny, brand Ariane, brand Amanda. Also brand Angelis. What social media platforms are you on? Yes?
Instagram.
You're on Instagram? Mm-hmm. Let me hear some more. But how many? Let me just do it as a poll. How many people here are on Instagram? Yeah? Alright, cool. How many people are on TikTok? And well, we know Facebook now is for old people. How many people are on Facebook? Yeah? So let me ask a question. Why do you like Instagram? I want this lady in front here to answer. Remember in this conversation, one person at a time. Yeah, this lady in front here is going to answer, and then that other lady. Yes. You like it because there's hammer and drama on Instagram. All right, okay. Let me hear you. So, you're a fast person and you like to mind people's business. All right. So, okay, so that's being funny, but I'm coming to her just now. But I want you to remember something. I'm just reminding you, and I'm not trying to be harsh, but I want you to remember something always. You're always, and I said it this morning earlier, you're always creating an impression of yourself. If I see you in the mall next week, and I have a very, 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 very good memory, I see you 2 years down the road somewhere, and all I'm going to remember of you is that you are the girl who's fast and likes to mind people's business. Is that the impression, is that the brand you want to create for yourself? So I'm just saying, when we talk about these things and we talk about the application and you're learning the lessons, start putting them in place right away. Give answers. Give answers. Pay attention. Guys, pay attention. Give answers that are in keeping with exactly what we're talking about now. What's your brand? And what do you want to be associated with? What do you want to be known for? So if you want to be known for an intelligent answer, then give an intelligent answer. Right? Give a serious answer. So, Instagram, if somebody gives me an intelligent answer, I'd be happy. Why do you like Instagram over the other platforms? Make sure it's something good you're saying. Create a good impression of yourself. Okay, so can we get a mic to her though? Oh, so you, all right. So I'm going to come back to you with the mic, but just let her answer because the mic is in front of her, right? And then we'll take it. Yes.
I like Instagram because it's, I like to hear other people's thoughts and opinions and insights on what's going on within the world.
Excellent.
I use Instagram to communicate with a friend who don't have a number right now, and for entertainment purposes as well. And to just see what's going on. If I find out something from a friend, I'll go on Instagram and search out this support.
Okay, good. So it's a way to communicate, it's a way to entertain. As this other young lady said, you get thoughts and opinions, you see what other people are thinking.
For me, like in all like social media platforms, I think that Instagram is the easiest one to use, and it's like with all the posts, if you call, if you post something, you know, you can do plenty of stuff on it, and yeah.
Okay, so you can do a lot of stuff on it. So what you can do videos and pictures? I have no idea about Instagram. So you can do videos, it's say what you said?
It's not to do the same thing Instagram does.
Okay. So we have a guy who has Facebook fan on the on this side, yes? Alright. Okay, so Twitter people. Why do you like Twitter? Okay, so we have some Twitter people saying that Twitter is no longer the same. She looks sad. But how it changed? The content has changed. All right, what's on it? Yes. Twitter has become adult content. That's what you want to say. All right. Okay, guys. So, what social media platforms you are on? You have told me that. You've shared that. Let's regroup. Let's regroup. And I asked you which ones you like best, and you know why. But I'm going to ask you a question now. For those of you who post, do your posts matter? Why? Why do your posts matter? Okay, I'm going to ask you one thing again. If you have something to say, put your hand up. Right? Put your hand up. Yeah.
Because if you post inappropriate stuff, when you go to get a job, you can go back and see your post and see what you're posting, and you might not be able to get a job.
All right. So if you're going to get a job, they're going to see what you posted. They're going to see it's inappropriate. But remember, I told you that little story about when my son says, "But why I have to be on my best behavior?" And I say, it's not just because you don't want to get the licks. It's not just because you don't want Miss Kimberly to quarrel with you. But it's also about doing the right thing because you feel good, right? So I'm taking your answer, but I'm also saying, if you post inappropriate stuff, I don't know how happy you will always be with what you've posted. Yeah? Anybody else, why do your posts matter?
My posts matter to me because it's like letting people know what type of person I am.
It's part of the brand. It's part of the brand. You're creating your brand. Yes, miss?
So my posts matter because it correlates, people correlate our image, my image. So I'll just give an example.
Miss, hold on. Guys, Miss is speaking. Miss, hold on until there's silence and then you'll continue.
So my posts matter because what I post, people create an image of me. So, you know, for young people, not everything you have to post. You have to use your discretion. Young people want to post everything. And then a couple of young years and they are more mature, they have a vision for their life. This post could take away an opportunity from you. So as much as you might enjoy things, you don't have to post everything. So your post matters. So for example, for the CPL tournament this year, I don't post, but I post on the CPL page about my disenchantment with the lights coming off and TKR losing that chance. Because I love cricket, and for me, not just my post, but many Trinidadians posted about them finding the decision being unfair. So I think watching to see what CPL will do or which means will work at CPL next year. So my posts matter because CPL is important.
So you're speaking on issues, that lady across there said she's listening to ideas and thoughts, other people's perspectives, and you were sharing your ideas. Yes, Jean?
One thing, what goes on the internet stays on the internet.
So that digital, very, very good. That digital footprint, so just one more comment, and then I'm moving on.
Yes, good morning. I would just like to say that posts do matter as well, because everybody has the power to create the online presence that they want, or how they want persons to see them. So you shouldn't think of it as negative, but you have the ability to post positive, inspirational, and create that image of they doing things that an organization may want.
So a very nice point. So you can make it matter in a good way. You can make your post matter in a positive way. I love that point. Yeah? But I want to get back to, so we were closing off comments here for a short while. I want to get back to that point. What you put on the internet, guys, is here to stay. Yeah? That digital footprint and that footprint, that idea of footprint, we've kind of borrowed it from the safety area. Those of you who are doing chemistry and so on know that a big thing right now in the world is how we are taking care or not taking care of the environment. And we talk about the carbon footprint. Meaning, are you listening? Yeah? The carbon footprint is when we pollute the atmosphere and there are all these carbon molecules in the atmosphere, we can never get rid of them. Yeah? And in that same way, when you put things out on the internet, God forbid, there's something you put out there, you're hoping it'll go away and nobody sees it or nobody knows it. 20, 30, 40 years from now, and the internet is only going to become faster and better. Anything that you put out there is going to come back to haunt you. So how do you manage that digital footprint? That is what we're talking about today. So I asked you whether your posts matter and why, and of course we're all agreeing that they matter. And just some very simple learning objectives in this session. At the end of the session, you should be able to discuss the importance of managing your digital footprint. It's extremely important. And you should be able to discuss what is a personal brand and how to build one over time. And on social media, you are helping to create that personal brand. In real life, you're also creating your personal brand. But also on social media, you're creating a brand. And also at the end of the session, you should be able to identify strategies for successfully managing your digital footprint. So let's talk through this. So what's a personal brand? It's really a statement or a message. And you can have a brand for you. We can have a brand for a business, and I keep saying Anthony's also has a brand. Aaron says he has 3 businesses. Aaron's businesses also have a brand. So a brand is a statement or a message. It could be written or unwritten, which you communicate about yourself about the following things. The brand is what you communicate about what you stand for. It also communicates how you will show up. What's your image? What's your identity? How you speak, how you act. As I said, when we hear a name, sometimes we know, okay, Aaron talked about Tony Robbins. Yeah. So when you hear Tony Robbins, there's certain things that you think about. I don't know who's the principal of any one of these schools now. I kind of fallen out of that, but long ago, for example, in PhD, when I was there, Mr. Bacchus was there. He was a serious principal. He used to give some serious licks. So if you say Mr. Bacchus, there's a brand that went along with Mr. Bacchus. Dressed a certain way, serious man, don't be caught out on the corridor. I wasn't a student, I was a teacher. I still used to be kind of afraid, right? You know, when he walks out on the corridor and has that whip there, he was associated with a certain brand, right? So what do you stand for? How will you show up? What will interacting with you be like? What's the quality of your work?
Many of you spoke about quality earlier on. And even as students, you are also creating a brand. Because I'm certain the teachers in here know that there's certain students, okay, when I get Jane's work, I know how Jane does her work. What the teacher's really talking about that Jane does really good work most of the time is she's talking about Jane's brand. So she's seeing Jane's brand even before she sees Jane's work because she expects a certain quality of work because she's already gotten accustomed to the brand of work that Jane does. Or if there's John, who always does poor work, then even before the teacher starts to look at the work, the teacher says in their mind, yeah, well, I know what to expect from John already. Because of the brand that John has created over time about the poor quality work. So the teacher is expecting the poor quality even before they see the work. Just like how you're expecting quality from the Nike shoes and I'm expecting quality from the Tommy Hilfiger dress. The brand tells us what to expect. So in terms of a personal brand, you have to think about what your personal brand will be. So how do you go about building a personal brand? And many of the things we talked about earlier also apply here. So if you want to build a personal brand that's going to be associated with certain things, excellence, quality, intelligence, innovation. If you want to build a brand that's associated with some of those good things, then how do you go about doing it? Ask yourself, who are you and who do you want to be? Going back to the conversations we had this morning. What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for when people remember you after they've left school? Oh yeah, he was a class clown. Always saying silly things in the class. That's your brand? That's what everybody in the whole school will leave knowing you for? What is your brand? What will you be known for? How do you want to be remembered? Set standards and only raise the bar. What I mean is set standards and then set another high standard. And I'm reminding you, it's not tomorrow you have to start to build a personal brand. It's not tomorrow that you have to start to create your professional self. It's now. Every single time you go to open your mouth to speak, think about what's my personal brand. Remember, first impressions last. And the world is small. Always act on brand. If I buy a Tommy Hilfiger dress and it's poor quality, I'll be very surprised if it is not on brand at all. If you want to be a brand of quality, then act on brand all the time. Be consistent in what you do. Work consistently at becoming who you want to be. Be consistent in terms of the things that you say. Micro habits count. I'm saying the same thing I said earlier. And never too early to start building that brand and that professional self. Remember also when you're building a brand, there's a phrase, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and it doesn't matter. It means that everyone won't like me, everyone won't like the same things I like. I also have to be authentic and be myself. I wouldn't run this session the way somebody else would do it, but I have to be myself. So part of my personal brand is not that I could watch somebody on the internet and say, I want to be that person or just like that person. I have to be me. But I have to decide what do I want to be associated with. So I'm just asking you this question, and it's not for you to answer, it's for you to think about. And it's for you to think about as you continue to be on social media. Are your posts, the things that you're posting, are they in keeping with the brand you want to create for yourself? Not the brand you have right now, necessarily, but that brand you want to create for yourself. Are your posts in keeping with that? I said earlier that your communication matters in the other session. I'm reminding you again. What you write on your posts matter. And how you write it. I see people writing things. I'm not much of a social media person. I sometimes take a little look when my husband is scrolling through. And sometimes people write things and I say, did these people go to school? What's going on? Look at how they write. Or the language they use. And instantly I start to make assumptions about their brand.
and who they are. What you write matters. What you say on your videos matter. And most importantly, because a lot of what we're talking about Instagram and Twitter, a lot of it shows you, your body, how you're dressed. Your dress, your facial expressions, your poses, how you hold your body, all of those things carry a very strong message about your brand. You have to think about, am I happy with what I'm posting? Is it on brand for me? Is it part of the brand that I want to create for myself? Also remember, in terms of the pictures that you post, the things that you say, have you ever heard the phrase, birds of a feather flock? These things are helping to create the brand that you are right now. Is that the brand that you like? Would you be happy? So I have a question. Would you be happy with a future employer or interviewer seeing all the content that you have now? Yeah? If the answer is yes, then that's great. And I will tell you something. My experience is nobody sits down in an organization and says, oh, well, don't forget to go and, check that Stephanie out on social media. Nobody says that. But I've been on enough panels where I'm sitting down on the panel and every single member of the interview panel is on social media looking at the next person we're going to interview. I've also had the experience, real experience, of knowing persons whose organizations have said to them, we have to part ways. That's a fancy way I'm saying something, right? When an organization says we have to part ways, you know what I really mean to say? You're out of here, right? Because you see who you are on Facebook, how you're dressed on Facebook. You represent me as an organization when you go out there and my clients seeing you looking like that. You have to part ways. These are real things that happen. So I know somewhere out here people like to have this argument, but what I do in my personal life doesn't really affect my work. That's in La La Land. Not Harry and Lala, but that's a La La Land. Not in the real world. In the real world, if it's on social media and I'm interviewing you or thinking about you to work in my organization, then I'm going to be checking out what you are on social media. Yeah? So should employers be looking at prospective employees' social media? We could discuss and say yes or no, yes or no, but I'll tell you the answer, they do. The reality is they do, and they will continue to do so. If you don't want something on social media, then don't put it on social media. And that's where the bottom line with that. So some strategies for managing yourself successfully on social media. Remember your brand. Remember your brand, the brand that you want to communicate. And if that brand is, I'm serious, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I have a good future ahead of me, I'm associated with quality, you can count on me, then everything you put out there has to be in keeping with that. It has to match up with that. Or else people are going to say, it's either the thing you're saying or the social media, then one out of the two of them isn't real. It can't be the two things. Which one is real? But you know what? I don't want to take the trouble to find out. I don't have time to bother with that. It's not matching up. Let me move along. Or you make sure that what's on social media matches up, is aligned with the brand you want to create for yourself. Remember who you represent and who do you represent. When you're going out there on social media and posting, you represent a number of people. You're representing your family. You're representing your parents. You're representing all of the people who came before you. Their grandparents, your great-grandparents, your family. You represent your community. You represent your school. As soon as something happens with young people in this country, but we want to know what school they went to.
What school are you in? You represent your school. You represent your friends. When something happens to somebody or somebody posts inappropriately, we're looking for who are the friends. Yeah? And you know what you represent? Yourself. I've been saying it in the 2 talks. Remember to treat yourself with some respect. So you represent a number of groups, you represent yourself. I'm going to say to you, think before posting. Many of you will be familiar with this phrase, think before speaking or think before acting. Think before posting. What is it that I want to say? Or why does I feel I have to put this picture of myself like this out here? What is the message I'm really trying to send? Yeah, what's the message? Why do I want to send this message? Why I have to let everybody see me like this in this party or doing this particular thing or dressed this way or lying down on my bed? What's the message I'm trying to send at any night I lie down on my bed to sleep, most people? But what is it that I want to say? What's the message? And then whatever it is I'm saying out there, sometimes it is talking about other people as well. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Do I need to say these things? Do I need to put that picture out? And I also want to say, there's another point up on the slide here. What about safety? Because sometimes people are not mindful of their posts. If you are out enjoying yourself right now, your entire family is somewhere, do you need to let all the bandits out there know that your house is empty? Does that make sense? Can't you wait till next week to put the post when you're home? Do you all have to let everybody know what you're doing every second of the day? People don't have to stop people anymore out there in a car with binoculars around. I used to see that on TV. Because people are showing everybody their business on social media. It's not safe. It's not safe. Yeah? I'll also say, create some checks for yourself. Apart from asking yourself, is it true, is it kind, is it necessary? Create some other checks. Mommy will like this. How mommy will feel about this if she saw this? Is that kind of checks for yourself? What the principal will think. Or you know that aunt that you have that you're really close to, what she will feel or think or feel if she sees this. So create some checks. How I will feel when I get old if I see this. When I have kids and I'm a mommy or a daddy, I will like they see this picture of me. Like this, yeah. Create some checks for yourself. And I'm also saying, don't cancel yourself. You know, cancel culture is a big thing on the internet. People do things, they think they're so popular, they're so great, they're posting everything, and before you know it, they make one mistake, and nobody wants to hear about them again. Don't cancel yourself. And it's not about all your online friends and your online followers. Don't cancel yourself in real life. Don't cut yourself off from real opportunities because you haven't thought before you click that button and posted something that you didn't need to. So think before you act. Think before you speak. Remember, I'm saying some things to you. You are always creating an impression of yourself. Every time you go to open your mouth to speak, is this something smart I'm going to say? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it good? You are always creating a brand of yourself. Is this how I want to be known? Is this how I want to be remembered? Think before you act. Don't cancel yourself in real life. And remember that the future is now. I'm saying the same thing again. So when you go to post, remember, it's not just about today. It's about my future. The future is now. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have 1 minute to take questions. Any questions or any comments? Any questions or comments? It's fine if we have no questions or comments, but if we do, we can take at least one. Anything? So, Just wrapping up again, think before you act, think before you post, remember your brand, remember the future starts now. You start building that professional self, you start building that brand today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much.
We have lunch, but we will call you by table for your lunch. We are going to move as quickly as possible. You will go through the door when we call your table.